are Norscan Wolf units, all variants, any good in patch 6.1.4. Having established that this is a faction that hates being shot to death, we're looking for counters to missile infantry, missile cavalry, missile most everything. So what do we have here then? Into the frosty depths of the details we go. I'll cover the Ice Wolves first because they're so different. Recruited for 650 gold and 163 upkeep. On an ultra scale, this gets you 48 larger than man-sized wolves with 6,864 health between them for 143 health per entity. All this is exceptionally unusual. Armor is 15, and while there is missile resistance, that's only 15%. Leadership of 45 is by no means whatsoever high. Speed 95 and charge speed 110 are nothing to be ashamed of, though the charge speed is a little lower than the normal Norscan hounds. Melee attack begins at 30, and each and every attack inflicts frostbite for minus 30% speed. Attack interval 4 is standard. Though a splash target size of medium is given in the data mine stats, the max targets of 1 means that it hasn't been given splash damage here. Melee defense 21, well, it's a wolf unit, we weren't expecting a ton. What are they supposed to do, block sword strikes with paws? Weapon strength comes at 48, split base 32, and armor piercing 16. Despite being tilted toward base damage, when you think about it, that's actually quite a bit of armor piercing on what the entities are able to chew on. Charge bonus is 38, and mass is 700 per wolf. Like the other units of this class, it has Hide and Forest, Vanguard Deployment, and Strider, which means for it, no combat impediments in a frosty forest, a big deal for a larger than man-sized wolf. Speaking of those other units, Norscan warhounds are recruited for 400 gold and 100 upkeep, or the same as a basic marauder melee unit. On ultra, this buys you 80 hounds with 6,080 health for 76 per wolf. Armor is 15, missile resistance 15%. Leadership of 38 is 7 worse, speed 95 and charge speed 115 are quite high. Melee attack begins at 26, with attack interval 4.3 being slightly slower, no splash damage. Melee defense is a mere 17. Weapon strength 22 is split base 19 and AP 3, the legendary weak against armor trademark values. Charge bonus is 20, the standard for hounds units, and mass is 150. The unit has Hide and Forest, Vanguard Deployment, and Strider. The warhounds with poison cost 450 gold and 113 upkeep, and are otherwise absolutely identical in stats, except for each and every strike, inflicting poison for minus 15% speed and minus 15% to weapon strength and missile strength for 10 seconds each application. And if you're wondering, absolutely, poison and frostbite will stack. In the redline skills, 3 pips of unnatural selection, nicely named, grants speed plus 12% as if they didn't have enough, and charge bonus plus 12 flat for a total of 50 for the Ice Wolves, as good as many light cavalry in the game with some kind of tech tree upgrade. Icy Wrath grants rank 7 versions, melee attack plus 5, weapon strength plus 12%, and another charge bonus plus 12 flat, so 62 for the Ice Wolves if you have both. In the tech tree, Monster Hunter adds plus 1 to recruit rank, Blood-Fueled Hunger grants melee attack plus 5 and weapon strength plus 10%, both badly desired. Bane to Morsleep offers recruitment cost minus 10% and melee defense plus 5, and the defense numbers are horrendous. Of mild note, Annihilation of the Skaven would grant a global charge bonus plus 10 to the Wolves units. So how do we use Norscan Wolf units? I want you to think not just in terms of the obvious. You can use them to chase down missile infantry and light cavalry, particularly light missile cavalry. I want you to see that you can use them not just alone, but with each other, and even with other classes of units entirely, and that's where the destruction gets truly bestial. In other words, it's one thing to go after a super flighty group of outriders with a hounds unit. I've seen something similar with Vampire Counts play, only catching up with Fellbats at the very edge of the map when fighting the Grenade Launcher's variant, one unit thereof, which was still safer because they can't target air, but the Outriders were actually faster than my bats. Yet, a single Ice Wolf will shave 30% off that unit's speed. Even with the nutty buffs that Nuln Faction 1 I'm thinking about had to its speed, minus 30% is a lot slower. That is to say, wolves may seem like a risky investment, but for clearing out squishy high-mobility foes, they can ruthlessly punish the slightest mistake and completely dominate combat the other side just plain doesn't want to engage in. Of course, even the Ice Wolves have low leadership generally, so this is a high risk and high reward strategy. They just do not have tons of health to work with, even though many spells will choke against the higher level of hit points for the Ice Wolves. There are two big flip sides. First off, basic hounds are still the kings of killing fleeing units. Other cavalry can be very acceptable. I found squig hoppers to do well, but even if Ice Wolves don't feel ideal to you, higher entity count warhounds with poison are going to chew your foes down to the bone. Second, in effect, these are your light melee cavalry stand-ins. You can use them in conjunction with hybrid horsemen and do some immense damage like that. All you need to do is create a clear path to a squishy target and chomp down. To state the obvious, one of the hidden upsides of using the normal Hounds units is that you can charge Spearmen from the front and not take charge defense or charge reflection unless it's an expert charge defense unit. But it's not often you want to be forced to actually do that. So the Ice Wolves will be proportionately worse against anti-large units and won't enjoy charge reflection at all. The flip side is that chariots and cavalry can't get far with rolling and trampling over them, like can happen to a lot of dog-type units. So, on balance, the ordinary ones are better for hunting infantry, the Ice Wolves for cavalry, but if you swarm together, both will fall. Take care and have fun taking a bite out of not crime, but order tides.